Imagine picking up a random call and hearing a stranger say, "You've just inherited $866 million. That's exactly what happened to a poor cleaner's daughter in a small town. But what the mysterious millionaire does next will leave you speechless and in tears. This is a story of fate, kindness, and a twist so shocking it'll restore your faith in humanity, or break it. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now so you don't miss a single moment of this unforgettable journey. We're about to dive into a story that's taking the USA and UK by storm. The morning sun barely crept through the cracked blinds of a tiny apartment in a forgotten corner of Cleveland, Ohio, where 17-year-old Lila Carter sat cross-legged on a threadbare couch, her algebra textbook splayed open on her lap. Her mother, Marla, was already gone, scrubbing floors at the downtown hospital for $12 an hour, her hands raw from bleach and her back bent from years of toil. Lila's life was a rhythm of survival. School, part-time shifts at a diner, and helping her little brother, Tommy, with his asthma meds when the bills piled too high for Marla to breathe. The apartment smelled of stale coffee and desperation, but Lila's eyes held a flicker of something fierce, a stubborn hope that refused to die despite the weight of their poverty. It was a Tuesday, unremarkable except for the chill in the air and the way Lila's phone buzzed on the chipped coffee table. She ignored it at first, assuming it was another debt collector hounding Marla's name. The phone wasn't even hers. It was a hand-me-down from her cousin, barely holding a charge, with a cracked screen that made texting an exercise in patience. But the buzzing persisted, a foreign number flashing with a +971 country code. Lila frowned. Dubai? She didn't know anyone overseas. Curiosity tugged at her, and against her better judgment, she swiped to answer. Hello? Her voice was cautious, tinged with the exhaustion of a girl who'd learned to expect disappointment. A deep, accented voice came through, polished but urgent, speaking in Arabic. Assalamu alaikum. Is this the residence of Amira Al-Hassan? Lila froze. No, sorry, wrong number. She was about to hang up when the man switched to English, his tone insistent. Please wait. This is important. My name is Khalid Al-Mansouri, and I'm looking for someone connected to a very significant matter. Are you certain there's no Amira at this number? Lila's stomach twisted. She glanced at Tommy, playing with a broken toy truck on the floor, oblivious to the call. Look, mister, I'm Lila Carter. There's no Amira here. Just me, my mom, and my brother. You got the wrong person. She expected the call to end there. Another fleeting interruption in her gray life. But Khalid's voice softened, almost pleading. Lila Carter, he repeated as if testing the name. Please stay on the line. This may sound strange, but I believe this call was meant for you. I'm handling an estate worth $866 million, and I've been searching for the rightful heir. The number I dialed, it's the last trace we have. Can we speak? Lila laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. You're telling me you misdialed $1 million? Yeah, right. I'm not falling for scams. She was ready to hang up, but something in Khalid's voice, calm, measured, almost desperate, stopped her. He didn't sound like the usual con artists who'd tried to trick Marla into fake lotteries. He offered to verify his identity, sending her an email from a law firm in Dubai, complete with official letterhead and a photo of a man in a crisp suit, his dark eyes serious but kind. Lila's skepticism wavered. She wasn't stupid. She'd seen enough to know the world didn't hand out miracles. But what if? Over the next hour, Khalid explained a story that sounded like it belonged in a movie, not her life. He was the executor for Sheikh Hassan bin Rashid, a reclusive Emirati billionaire who died 6 months ago, leaving no direct heirs. The Sheikh's fortune, built on oil and real estate, was tied to a single condition in his will: find the descendant of a woman named Amira, who'd worked for his family decades ago in Dubai. The Sheikh had never forgotten her kindness, a maid who'd saved his life during a fire in his childhood home. He'd promised to repay her family, but Amira had vanished after returning to the U.S. in the 1980s. Khalid's team had traced a phone number, Lila's number, through years of fragmented records. It was a long shot, but they believed Lila's mother, Marla, might be Amira's daughter. Lila's head spun. Marla never spoke about her past, not really. She'd grown up in foster care, bounced between homes in Chicago, and had Lila at 19. If there was some glamorous history involving Dubai, Marla had buried it deep. Lila pressed Khalid for details, her voice shaking. My mom's just a cleaner. She's not some secret heiress. You're telling me she's tied to $866 million? Prove it. Khalid didn't hesitate. He sent documents, scanned photos of a young woman who looked eerily like Marla, standing in a Dubai market, her smile wide but tired. There were records of Amira's employment with the Rashid family, her U.S. passport, and a faded letter where she'd written about returning to America for a new start. Lila's hands trembled as she opened the files on her phone. Tommy now watching her with wide eyes. What's wrong, Lila? He whispered. Nothing, buddy. She lied, her mind racing. She told Khalid she'd talk to Marla and call back. That night, when Marla dragged herself home, her uniform stained and her face etched with exhaustion, Lila hesitated. How do you ask your mom if she's hiding a past that could make them millionaires? Marla was skeptical, too, her eyes narrowing as Lila recounted the call. People don't just give away money, Lila. It's a trick. Let it go. But Lila saw a flicker in her mother's face, a shadow of something unspoken. Marla refused to discuss it further, retreating to her bedroom with a tired sigh. Lila couldn't let it go. She called Khalid back the next day, sneaking out to the diner's break room during her shift. He was patient, explaining that the sheiks will require proof of lineage, DNA, documents, anything to confirm Marla was Amira's daughter. If true, the fortune would be theirs, no strings attached. Lila's heart pounded. She imagined Tommy's medical bills paid, Marla resting instead of scrubbing floors, a house where the heat worked. But doubt gnawed at her. Why would a billionaire care about a maid's family? What was the catch? Over the next week, Lila became obsessed. She dug through Marla's old boxes, finding a tattered photo of a woman holding a baby. Marla, maybe, but no name. She sent it to Khalid, who confirmed it matched their records of Amira. He offered to fly to Cleveland to meet them, covering all costs. Lila convinced Marla, who was still wary but softening under Lila's persistence. If it's real, Marla said quietly, it could change everything. But if it's a lie, Lila, it'll break us. Khalid arrived at their apartment a week later, a tall man in a tailored suit, carrying a briefcase and a quiet dignity. He sat on their sagging couch, sipping instant coffee like it was fine tea, and laid out the story again. The sheik had no children, no wife. Only a debt of gratitude to Amira, who'd pulled him from a burning room when she was just 20, risking her life. He'd spent years trying to find her, but she'd disappeared into America's foster system. Khalid's firm had been searching ever since, and this phone number, Lila's, was their final lead. Marla's hands shook as she listened. She admitted she didn't remember much of her mother, who died when she was 4. Foster care had erased most of her past, but the name Amira stirred something. A lullaby, maybe, or a fleeting memory of warmth. Khalid offered a DNA test, and Marla agreed, though her eyes were guarded. I don't trust easy, she told him. Life's taught me better. The test results took 3 agonizing weeks. Lila barely slept, her mind torn between hope and dread. She kept working at the diner, dodging questions from her boss about why she seemed so distracted. Tommy sensed it too, asking if they were moving or if something bad was coming. Lila hugged him tight, promising everything would be okay, even as her stomach churned. When Khalid called, his voice was steady but warm. It's a match. Marla, you are Amira's daughter. The estate is yours, $866 million, to be transferred upon your agreement. Lila screamed, dropping her phone. Marla froze, her face pale. Tommy clapped, thinking it was a game. The room felt too small for the news, like the walls might burst. Khalid flew back to Cleveland with paperwork, and soon, reporters were knocking, cameras flashing outside their dingy apartment. The story spread, local news, then national, then viral posts on X about the cleaner's daughter who answered a billionaire's call. But the money didn't come easily. The first twist came when Khalid revealed the estate wasn't just cash. It included properties in Dubai, stocks, and a charitable foundation the sheik had mandated the heir oversee. Marla, who'd never managed more than a grocery budget, was now expected to run a global philanthropy. She panicked, telling Lila, "I can't do this. I clean floors, not empires." Lila, though, saw it differently. She'd always been the planner, the one who balanced Marla's checkbook when the numbers didn't add up. She dove into learning, researching foundations, even emailing Khalid late at night with questions. Then came the second twist. A distant cousin of the sheik, Omar bin Rashid, contested the will. A slick man with a private jet and a lawyer army, Omar claimed the fortune was his by blood, not some sentimental promise to a maid. He didn't know Marla's identity yet, but his team was digging, and Khalid warned that Omar was ruthless. "He'll come for you," Khalid said. "He's already frozen part of the estate in court." Lila's dreams of a new life dimmed. She pictured Omar's lawyers tearing their fragile hope apart, leaving them with nothing but headlines. Marla wanted to walk away, terrified of losing what little they had. But Lila refused. She tasted possibility, and she wasn't letting it go. She started posting about their story on X, carefully anonymous at first, using hashtags like #RagsToRiches and #ViralKindness. The posts exploded, gaining thousands of likes and shares from people in the USA and UK, drawn to the underdog tale. Strangers sent messages of support, some offering legal advice, others sharing their own stories of sudden luck or loss. Lila's posts caught the eye of a pro bono lawyer in New York, Elena Vasquez, who flew to Cleveland to help fight Omar's claim. The legal battle stretched 6 months, each day a roller coaster. Omar's team dug into Marla's past, painting her as an opportunist in tabloids. Lila countered with more X posts, sharing photos of Marla's calloused hands, Tommy's inhaler, their cramped apartment. The public rallied, trending #Justice for Marla. Elena uncovered a key piece of evidence, a recorded message from the sheik, dictated on his deathbed, reaffirming his promise to Amira's family. The court ruled in Marla's favor, and Omar's claim collapsed. The money was theirs, but the final twist was the hardest. Marla, overwhelmed by the spotlight, broke down one night, telling Lila she felt like a fraud. "I'm not Amira. I'm not some hero's daughter. I'm just me." Lila held her, whispering, "You're enough. You always were." They decided to honor the sheik's wish, keeping only enough for a modest house, Tommy's healthcare, and Lila's college fund. The rest, hundreds of millions, went to the foundation, funding schools, hospitals, and shelters across the US and Middle East. Lila's last X post, now with millions of followers, showed Marla smiling at a shelter opening, Tommy holding a new toy truck. "This is what kindness does," she wrote. "It's not the money, it's the choice to give back." The post went viral, shared across continents, with comments flooding in from London to Los Angeles. The Millionaire's Act hadn't just changed their lives. It had sparked a movement, proving a single call could ripple forever.